Text message from Rob Meyer. Godfather, maybe it is destiny that our fighting Texas Aggies are 12th fitting. See, Rob Meyer is looking for some positives in Aggie Baseball being a 12 seed. And look, we will very shortly get to A&M as a 12 seed, A&M's regional, the Aggie Baseball listening. It's actually not where I wanted to start our day. Why, Lou? Why? Why? Last night, the battle for the boot, Astros Rangers, except it was at Globe Life. And the Rangers were supposed to get back on track. This was supposed to be the easiest portion of the Ranger schedule. The Angels into the Astros, the two mutts of the AL West. Two teams going nowhere in a hurry. And when the two teams battle for the boot, it's as heated a rivalry as anything you've ever seen in all of sports. Well, last night, the Houston Astros did something that didn't happen at all last year in MLB. Hadn't happened since September 4th of 2024. The Houston Astros threw a no-hitter. It was a combined no-hitter. Jaime starts, Okert in relief, and Elimber Santa made his debut. Yes, in a no-hitter. The Astros decide that's the time we're going to throw Elimber Santa. I remember when they called him up, he was like their number 17 number 7 prospect in the organization. He's about a year away. He really shouldn't be up this year, but when it was a lost season, when you're going through pitchers like most people go through bubble gum, why not? Seriously, too, why not? And I think he'd been up for a couple of days before I guess they activated and decided to use him. And they decided to use him 2 innings left in a no-hitter. But the Houston Astros last night, 3 pitchers combined threw the first no-hitter in MLB in 629 days. And they no-hit the Rangers in their house. About to cry, it's so beautiful. In a rivalry game. First game of 4. Talk about setting the tone. And yeah, it's true. Last year, there was not a single no-hitter. We went all of 2025 with no no-hitters. And do you know what the last year was before 25? That you went a whole year without a no-hitter in MLB? 2005. You had a 20-year gap. So no-hitters, they don't happen every day, but they do at least happen once a year. And the Astros on the board for 2026. 3 hitters combined. Now, for the Houston Astros, and I'm an Astros fan, lifelong, they're known. The franchise, and maybe we should blame Nolan Ryan for this, is known for no-hitters. It was the 18th no-hitter in Houston Astros history. It was their 5th combined no-hitter. Do you know the second most combined no-hitters by a franchise? 2. There's like Angels, Cubs, Orioles have all combined for 2. And that's the 5th combined no-hitter in Astros history. So 18 overall, 5th combined, all the top or some of the top in all of baseball. No other team in MLB has more than 2. Astros now have 5. And you do it against your rival. You do it over the weekend as the Astros swept the Rangers. So Sunday evening into night. I'm just telling you, in the Astros community, people are talking about believing again. Like, maybe it's not a lost season. Maybe they can win the West. Maybe it's not so bad. Because during this, and this is the state of the AL West and Astros baseball, during this stretch where they're playing 500 ball again, the reason why the Astros community is starting to resurrect itself and believe to a degree is it's been all about the pitching. The Astros offense, they won 9-0 last night. Yordan Alvarez and Christian Walker, the 2 of them, and only the 2 of them, are having 40-plus home run years. They're both bona fide, as we're about to hit into June. The rest of the offense, Ain't nobody done a thing to make you believe. But those two are doing 40 plus. But from the start of the year, the answer was supposed to be a 6-man rotation with 6 bona fide pitchers. You keep saying bona fide. Okay, I'll stop. 6 pitchers who are 4 or better, which no one else could brag about. And then Josh Hader to shut it all down. So the pitching, and it's been like 1.5 times through, small sample size, don't care. I'm just sharing. So if the Astros pitching is rounding into, and Hader should return to the pen on Monday, Brown should be back either the middle or end of the first week in June. And they're doing this now. If you're an Astros fan, you might be allowed to believe. It's possible. You have the right to believe. And I can now speak for myself because I'm maybe a little more skeptical than most because I've seen things. I've seen things that burn the soul. And I remember, and this is a true story, and most of the times when people say it's a true story, it's not. So now you're not going to believe me, and that's fine. But for me personally, I needed a sign. It's true. Sunday night I went, I need more. I need a sign because it's 1.5 times through. It's a small sample size. Look, they beat a struggling Cubs team, my beloved Cubs, for the 3 straight. And it's true, the pitching looks so much better into form. But that bullpen is going to wake up one day and implode, crater, 6 feet under. They've been so overused and abused. It's why they called up Asanto. He's not supposed to be here till next year. They got no arms. And it's May. But that's another story. And if you ask the baseball gods for a sign, should you believe? My only point of not 100% throwing in the towel yet for the Astros is they're in the AL West. Joe Sheehan says it. Bryce Jones says it. Random people walking past the Charles Schwab studio in the hall at Bryan Broadcasting says it. My producer, Jeanette, does not say that. She has no idea what I'm saying. She doesn't listen to my show. So, people everywhere, they're in the AL West. So, and I buy that. See, my mind as a sports fan, I process and believe that. It's true. They are in the AL West. I have believed that if like any team in the AL West can go like 20-10 in any month. And there's 6 of them. So you have 6 chances. You win by 5 games. It's such a bad division. The Astros have won 4 straight. That's 4 games in which at the end you get a W. I know if you're an Astros fan, you've lost track of that. But they've won 4 straight. And in the last 10, and I want to check this again because I saw it this morning, and you know, these things are so weird. I think they're 7-3. Like, huh? How's that even possible? And generally speaking, for like 5 weeks now, the best I've seen in the AL West is like a big 6-4. And even when you see that, you're kind of like, oh, and then they lose 3 straight. So the Astros have won 4 straight. They've been pretty good for about a week and a half. And this is by the way, and this has been a week and a half long road trip. They've done it hardcore style. And reinforcements are on the way. Hader should be back Monday. Brown later in the week. And there's a couple other too. So like I said, this weekend, especially Sunday, the Astros community was buzzing, as in they believe now, and I needed a sign, and okay, all right, no hitter. You don't, that's not just a sign. That was slapping someone over the head with it. So I got baseball god blip slapped hard. Thank you. I'm back. I'm good. Astros throw the no-hitter. 4 straight. They're only 3.5 back. as miserable and awful, they're only 3.5 back. I'll be okay. It's just emotional. Tonight, you can hear Game 2, Astros Rangers, and it's a 4-game series at Globe Life. You can hear Game 2 right here on the Zone, 6:35. You can hear Astros Rangers Game 2 thanks to Kelly Burt Dozer. When you hear Astros Baseball on the Zone, select games on Willie 1550 AM. It's thanks to Kelly Burt Dozer. Some of the wrong side of the no-hitter. Texas Rangers have been no-hit 6 times in their history. The last time, Corey Kluber, Yankees, 2021. At Globe Life Field, it opened in 2020. True story. But that's not why I brought it up. Third no-hitter at Globe Life Field, all since 2020. So for the Rangers, they get no-hit a lot. I mean, their offense does stink, and it has stunk since Globe Life Field opened. So 6th time in their history, they've been no-hit. Texas Rangers, third no-hitter at Globe Life Field, which opened in 2020. Look, nobody tell Rusty that, please. Rusty's a friend of mine, and I would hate for Rusty to have to hear that and Rusty to know that and have to live with that data, because he's a historian and he would never forget. So whatever you do, please don't tell Rusty Burson that the Rangers have been no-hit 6 times and 3 at Globe Life Field now. Don't do that, Tim. He's a friend of mine. Continuing the rest of this 3-game series, you got Jack Leiter for the Rangers tonight, Jason Alexander for the Astros, DeGrom on Wednesday, Mike Burrows for the Astros, and it'll wrap up with Nathan Eovaldi and Spencer Arrighetti. The Astros obviously only have 1 check mark in the head-to-head pitching matchups, but remember something. All these numbers and everything is how they were, but it's how they've been is why the Astros, I don't know if you're going to believe, you can believe now. There's so much more I want to talk about. Maybe we'll jump back into this. Christian Walker went yard as 15th. Jordan went yard as 16th in the 9-0 win last night for the Astros. And you know, Jordan Alvarez right now is the number 2 hitter in all of baseball, basically behind Aaron Judge. But that was his 16th. I just told you Christian Walker hit his 15th. Christian Walker's having some kind of resurrection year. I don't know how long it's going to last. Don't care. But you got to give him his props. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. I guess question number 1 of the day for all the Astros fans. Are you back? Are you in? Are you going to fall for it? I am. Why not? It's heading into the summer. Hope and happy is a good thing. We'll be back. Aggie Baseball time next. It's the Louis Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric, Tuesday on the Zone.
Home on the road or Omaha. You can hear Aggie Baseball on the Zone.
We were talking Astros no-hitter, Elimber Santa. Something I had to share with you. It was a note that I saw. There's so many things that were historic about it. 18th all-time Astros history. 5th combined. First no-hitter since September 4th of 24. Last year, not a single no-hitter was thrown. So Elimber Santo threw the last 2 innings for the Astros. That was his season premiere. I believe it was MLB debut, matter of fact, okay? His MLB debut. Well, it is the first time since 1900 that a pitcher made his debut, his premiere. I mean, in a no-hitter, okay? Rather insane. It's such a great story. It was all of it, all this history being made, and yeah, Elimber Santo knew. You know, it was insane. Like, and I want you to think about something. So the Astros had this huge lead, and Espada decided to get certain pitchers work. He did not care about the no-hitter. The second pitcher out was Okert, which that's like the participation trophy pitcher. He's awful, and he keeps the no-hitter alive. And then with 2 innings to go, Espada could try and keep the no-hitter. Like, he could be putting in Brian King. Not Abreu, but you see what I'm saying. Nope. He brings in a guy to make his major league debut. And he pitches 2 innings to finish the no-no. It was highly improbable to get a no-hitter with the decisions Espada made. And by the way, if you think I'm ripping Espada, no. With the way the bullpen usages went, he's not supposed to use key arms with a 9-run lead, 7, 6-run lead at all. That's the lowest on the totem pole. But you did it with Okerd and a guy making his major league debut. Go Stros. Let us switch. We're staying on the diamond. We'll be on the diamond the entire first hour together here on the Louis Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric, Faith, Family, and Community CC Electric. But A&M Baseball is the 5 seed NCAA tournament. They're hosting. They play 3 o'clock Friday, hosting Lamar. And then the nightcap game is Texas State and USC. And it's fascinating. I don't think there's anyone other than the NCAA committee that would agree that A&M is a 12 seed. You can use RPI. You have the adjusted RPI. You have a third metric. The only number, and I'm serious, the only number that justifies a 12 is if you use RPI and nothing else. Like if you use RPI and you stop, the 12 is almost rounding up because A&M's RPI is worse than that. But when you start to include anything else, any other metric, any other committee behavior, anything else that we actually know about, I don't know how to measure the strength of a team. A&M is not a 12. If I saw this correctly, if you take the top 6 teams that finished in the SEC, 1 and 2 and 4, 5, and 6 are all national seeds. But 3 isn't, and that's A&M. But not only is 3 the only one that's not hosting, but they're at 12? There's a lot of issues with A&M as the number 3 to finish, getting pushed so far down at the 12 as a seed host. And when the committee chair, because he met after, they do the Q&A with the media, was asked, he gave a no answer. He didn't say it was their road variance against teams that wore red. He gave nothing. He just gave we really looked at everyone from 6 to 14, and when we went through all the numbers and we did our discussions, that's how it played out. He gave a non-answer answer. So, to be honest with you, we're never going to know why the committee did it. We're not going to know why the committee, he no answered. He didn't give us any insight. He didn't say, well, the way our statistical model projected the trending of A&M over the last 9 games against Q1 and a halfers. Nothing. We got nothing. So we're not going to know what the committee saw. That's frustrating to me. Even when the committee says horrifically stupid stuff, insert a sport here, it's something. But we got nothing on this one. Should A&M be a national top 8 seed? That's a lot harder question, because that's what I asked myself. Because, yesterday afternoon and even this morning, I've been I just want to know why A&M's 12. I don't know if they should be in the top 8. You can argue that they could, but I don't know if you can argue absolutely. And it's like instant replay for me. Because with instant replay, the only time instant replay should overturn is if it's clear and it's obvious. Like instant. If they're 10 minutes into a review, shut it down. You can't overturn it. You're trying to. It's not a fact that you should. Anyone else believe that when we're watching football, whether it's college or NFL? But if you're 10 minutes into review, you're trying to overturn it. It's not that you should. So is it clear and obvious that Aggie football should be a national seed over Florida at 8 or Bama at 7? And I know A&M beat Florida 2 out of 3 in Gainesville, but when you take all the data points in. Do you think so? Because I think you can make an argument they have just as good a case, but a better case is where it gets tricky. And that's what ends up happening quite a bit. Alabama's RPI is 6, A&M's is 14. Florida's is 11, A&M's 14. There's a lot of A&M, they each have different columns, but that's why I'm saying it's not clear and obvious. So 7, 8, but then A&M's 5 spots lower than them, or 4 spots lower than them. Southern Miss is 12, A&M's 14. Southern Miss got the 9 slot. It's like Oregon's 11, A&M 12. There's no way. I can't buy that at all. That's clear and obvious. Lou, you're arguing over one spot. It's the general treatment looking at the SEC standings, how 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6 got their best lives, got the best possible credit for their season from the committee, and A&M got the worst possible. Because every team has a possible variance from the committee where you get full credit or the least amount of credit for what you did. And if you take the top 6 in the SEC standings, the other 5 got full credit. Like you're an SEC team and you're playing in the most elite baseball league ever known to man. Kentucky should not be in the NCAA baseball tournament. That's a joke. That's comedy. But they got credit for being in the SEC. Good for them. That's the SEC getting the treatment the SEC deserves because it's SEC baseball. Better than minor league. Okay, I got carried away. I'll take that last part back. But you get it, right? So how does A&M end up as like the only team that doesn't get full credit for playing in the SEC? Full credit for a third place finish in the most elite baseball league in the history of baseball, college, right? That's all I'm tying into. And how does the committee pick A&M to be the one team to do that too? Because again, they put Kentucky in, and that's a joke. But they played in the SEC, and they have a winning overall record. Mind you, they were 4 games below in league play, but who cares? Because I remember this during SEC tournament week. Kentucky got knocked out. And do you know what their message was to the committee? That the committee obviously bought. We never got swept. Like, that was their... At 4 games, sub 500. They were 13 and 17, if I remember right. And what I don't have to remember, I guess I could look it up. But that was their selling point. They did something I've always said is to the committee, if you're a sub 40 RPI, you're like an auto bid. And they were 37. Even sub conference record, not just sub 5, but like 4 games below. Like awful, right? But your RPI is sub 40. The committee starts to blur and forget every other detail when they see that one fact. If you're a sub 40 RPI, I know of one team that Mercer did not get in, and they're 28, and that is the ultimate stink fest of this whole field. So there's exception to everything. But you got an SEC logo and you're sub 40. I think they put them in before they looked at any record at all. So, okay, back to my main point. The thought stuck in my head that I'm having with A&M at 12. Every team in the SEC got full credit, got the SEC extra credit, except A&M. And I believe that's obvious and easy, and I'm not playing SEC homer. I just want to know the why part. That's all. That's all. And in a lot of cases, SEC teams fight each other. Because we're talking about A&M would have to bump Florida. A&M will bump Alabama. That's pretty tough. Because that's SEC versus SEC violence. But I see that Oregon got consideration over... No. And we'll never know why, because the committee chair gave us nothing when he was asked. When we return, I got an Aggie Baseball listen-in for you. Michael Earley, Earley and Sorrell met with the media after the announcement, and We'll hear their thoughts. We'll hear what they had to say. You text me, I can hear what you have to say. Yeah, I know. I'll hear. I can read what you had to say. 979-693-1150. 979-693-1150. Hit send. I'll see what you have to say inside the Texas Mobile and Lube Express inbox. It is the Louis Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric, Tuesday on The Zone.
Your home for Texas A&M football is Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone. The Zone.
Time now. Aggie Baseball listening. Yesterday, Field of 64 was revealed. Media got to visit with Coach Earley. Well, here's what he had to say.
Coach, just your initial thoughts on being the 12 seed after, saying you thought your body of work deserved to be a top 8.
Yeah, I mean, I have my own opinions, but they have a job to do, and they did it, and it is what it is. We're excited to host a regional at Bluebell Park, and just can't wait to play ball.
What did you think of the field and just a couple of teams that you're familiar with, at least y'all played this season already?
Yeah, I mean, really quality teams. We've played Lamar and Texas State, had a couple against Texas State, so yeah, there's definitely some familiarity there. Definitely different on a Tuesday versus a weekend, so will be a different challenge just with different pitchers going for each team, but obviously really good teams that deserve to be there, and we're going to have our hands full.
Does it help or hurt that you guys have some familiarity with at least a couple of the teams in your field?
I guess that's to be determined, but I mean, from a scouting standpoint, you played a lot of them early on, so it completely changes how you look at it. So, yeah, I mean, we're not playing it like that. It's just, I think it just happens to work out that we played them. So we're taking it as a new team because all those teams are different. I mean, we're a different team than we were then, and so are they. So all tough teams, and then UFC, of course. I know Coach Stankiewicz, pretty good, awesome coach, awesome staff. So again, a lot of good teams in our regional.
First selection process as a head coach for you. What was today like for you and the guys?
Yeah, I'm just proud. I mean, it's a lot of hard work by them and the staff, and just getting us to this point and getting a regional back at our home park. So it's it's great. It's awesome. We're excited about it. There's we've had a really good season, and it's you get rewarded with a little bit. You get to play at home. It means nothing. It doesn't guarantee you anything, but just again, we are fired up to be playing at home for sure.
Where's Aiden Sims at kind of in his recovery, and what are you kind of expecting his role to be this week?
Yeah, he's been throwing every day. His role will be to be determined on the weekend because every day is a process. But again, he's been playing catch since Thursday and throwing and getting up on the mound. So he's looking good right now.
You talked about being rewarded and getting to play at home regional. What does home field advantage and playing at Bluebell Park truly give you guys on the ball field?
Yeah, I mean, I think with our us and only a few other places that your fan base and crowd can give you an edge if you use it the right way and the other team doesn't handle it the right way. Now, how they handle it, it's going to be up to them, but we have the experience of not trying to do too much when the crowd's really into it, and we've done a really good job with that. So playing at our place, and again, maybe one or two others, to me is always an advantage. That's why we want to play here.
Then the earlier game of the two on Friday, why was it important to play there?
Yeah, it's for a lot of reasons, but if you look at you play game one because I think for us, like I said earlier, if we played a game at Bluebell Park in the postseason at 8 a.m., like the fans are still going to show up. Like it doesn't matter, it's Friday afternoon. The other part is like the strategic part, weather being one. So this time of year, as you can see right now, a ton of lightning, ton of rain. For some reason, that first game's getting in first, and if you get past that point, and I believe it happened in the Baton Rouge Regional last year with Cliff and DBU, you have to play the next day. So you could possibly play in 2 games in one day. Doesn't mean it can't happen as the first game, but you have a way longer window to play. The other part is, too, if you happen to lose that game, it's 24 hours as opposed to could possibly play a late night game into a day game. So all factors, to me, make that an easy decision. It's something that I've learned in my time here, and I believe it's the best way to go.
The full season culmination to get to this point. Does the message change at all? But what's kind of the mindset moving forward?
Message does not change. Does not change. We've played pitch to pitch, game by game, inning to inning, game by inning mentality all year in preparation for this. So when you get into these situations where everything is on the line, you just revert to what you have done. So you don't change anything if you're down, if you're up. You play the same way the entire time. That's why you do it the whole year, so you have experience doing it. You don't come in to postseason play and, we got to be a little better, or this, that. No, you just do what you've been trained to do all season.
Like you said after the game against Auburn, it was maybe a little out of character performance by the offense. Just how do you feel like you guys get back into that regular where you were on the offensive side?
Yeah, we just went back to work. Like some of us, a few guys, we got in there even Saturday night when we got back. We went home, got some lunch, and a few of us got in there Saturday night and just tweaking things. And the biggest thing is there's no panic. Like I understand a lot that hitting is hard. Right, hitting's extremely hard, and sometimes you just have games, and those games can swing by a pitch, and they just didn't. So that game gives me no concern. It just gives us stuff to work on and stuff to teach off of, which can be a huge positive, right? You can, okay, hey, we did this, we did that. Remember, we don't do that. We don't do this. This is what we do. Those type of things, and just some mechanical adjustments with guys. I mean, we've had some, you need at-bats or as much as you can, but you got to try to simulate the game as much as you can without getting guys hurt this late in the year. And we're doing a good job of that this week.
Is there any silver lining of being one and done and getting that extra rest? And how do you feel like you guys are just from the whole roster being a little banged up and maybe having some of that extra rest on one game?
I mean, there's part of it, but you never want to lose, and you definitely never want to lose the way you lose. So, but to me, the silver lining would be how we lost, and when we've lost like that all season, what we've come back and done after it. So you can draw negatives and positives from everything. We take the negative, we address those early, but for me, I have comfort in my team and what they've done all year and just complete trust in their ability to, if you want to call it bounce back, respond, whatever. They've shown a gigantic body of work in being able to do that.
You going to limit contact between Hutch and Jace this week?
No, that's tough on them for sure. But no, they're good, man. Excited for Jace and their family, and I'm sure it's just a tough situation and really cool for them to be in, but I'm sure tough. But yeah, Will Davis, awesome coach. Jace over there. Jack Hargrove used to work here, coaches first base. So happy for those guys to have a good season. They've earned it, and they work really hard.
How would you assess where Nico's at right now?
He'll be playing. Yeah, he could have played. He could have played Friday. Field was wet. I wasn't playing him if it was 80 and sunny, just because I'm like, if he can play today, and this is the first day we really thought he could play, then he'll 1,000% be ready in a week. So he'll be playing.
Michael Earley, A&M baseball head coach, speaking to the media after the selection announcement on Monday. Got one more for you. Caden Sorrell, he said hi to the media too.
Just what you think of y'all's draw and just some of the familiar faces that y'all might see this weekend.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, got some teams in there we've already played and had success on them in the past. So I think we're in a great spot.
What did you see from that last performance y'all had against Auburn, and just how you feel like this offense can get back into its form?
Yeah, I mean, we just didn't come out prepared. Could have definitely taken it a little more serious. I mean, had some guys kind of banged up, which didn't help. But got to flush it and move on. That's all we can do.
And then what do you think this week of preparation is going to look like compared to last week, because it'll be a week between games both times?
Yeah, I mean, not a whole lot different. I mean, we always kind of practice with a lot of intent. So it should be kind of fine in that category. So, showing up every day, having a lot of intent, and going forward from there.
Being somebody who's been in this position before, what do you kind of impart wisdom to some of the younger guys who have stepped in their first regional?
Yeah, I think it's just about not making it more than it is. I mean, obviously, very important games. It's postseason baseball, but you can't put too much stress on yourself. Me as a freshman was definitely pretty nervous, showing up in postseason baseball, but, just about not putting too much stress on yourself.
Coach Earley talked about y'all's abilities to respond to losses this season. What is it about this team that's been able to kind of bounce back from those losses, like the one y'all had against Auburn?
Yeah, I mean, we've done it all year. We've had some series that we should have won, had a close series with a couple teams in conference that, didn't go our way, and, the next series we always showed up. So that's what we're going to do. We didn't show up against Auburn in the SEC tourney, but that's okay. It's not the end of the world, and, we're going to show up in this regional, and we're going to do our thing.
A year ago this time, just definitely some disappointment missing the tournament. Just what was the biggest thing you saw from your program and your team as a whole that y'all got to be back to this stage and hosting a regional this time around?
Yeah, I think just the consistency of our team. I mean, again, like I kind of just said, when we lose a game, lose a series, it doesn't affect us too much. We show up the next day to practice. We have high intent with whatever we do, and we go forward from there.
That was Caden Sorrell, and before that, it was Michael Earley. That's our Aggie Baseball listen-in. Both Sorrell and Earley met with the media after the selection show was over, and they met with the media, and their opening thoughts. Nobody's happy, but the best response is to just beat the hell out of everyone. Win your regional, go 3-0. That's the truth. That is the best response. You don't think USC should be here. I personally don't know why everyone's fearing a fourth place Big Ten team. I don't know why everyone is, oh no, USC, their RPI is 9, but yet they went something like 1-10, or was it 1-8 against USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Nebraska. So I know they have two great pitchers who padded stats against a garbage baseball conference that is less than some of the not fives, but the group of. So I looked at the other regionals and the other 2 seeds specifically. Would you rather have Arkansas or USC as your 2 seed? Would you rather have Ole Miss or USC as your 2 seed? I'm just asking, who do you think is a tougher 2 seed to pull? Would you rather have Wake Forest or USC as your 2 seed? There's a lot of weird out there. I'm not going to lie to you. A&M's not the only one. A&M got no respect for being the SEC. I just ranted about it. I'm going to move on. But as far as 2 seeds go, A&M is at 12. That's one of the 4 lowest seeds. A&M got the 3rd or 4th toughest 2 seed. I put Arkansas and Ole Miss in front of USC. So they're the 3rd toughest at most. A&M is 12, should have the 4th toughest as 2 seeds. I'm just not that deep into the woes me narrative, okay? Sorry. I apologize. I know USC is a good team. I will go with a very good team. Half of the 2s are very good. The other half of the 2s are wrong. That's committee. They butcher a lot of things. And think about it. The top 8 national seeds usually get bad 2s, and then the non-national seeds get good 2s. And that's exactly what played out. I need a timeout. I really do need a timeout. This is the Louis Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric. They do residential, commercial, and industrial services. That's CC Electric. This is the Louis Bellina Show on The Zone.
You can get the podcasts of Texans Live, The Louis Bellina Show, or Chip Howard at zone1150.com, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
I'm really big on back in the day. So on May 26th, 1896, that's 130 years ago, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, co-founded by Charles Dow, first appeared in the Wall Street Journal. Back in the day, May 26, 1978, and that is 48 years ago, the first legal casino in the eastern United States opened in Atlantic City. That's New Jersey. Resorts Atlantic City. And it still stands today. And I got one for you from the world of sports. Back in the day on May 26th, 33 years ago, so that's 1993, and I think everyone's going to, a lot of people remember this with a smile. Back in 1993, May 26th, Cleveland's Carlos Martinez hit a fly ball that bounced off outfielder Jose Canseco's head over the right field wall, and it was a home run. I remember the second I got to Cleveland's Carlos Martinez hit a fly ball, I went, uh-oh. And yeah, the image is burnt into my head. So that was May 26th, 1993. This is the anniversary of the Canseco, I don't know if it was soccer goal, but yeah, off of Canseco's head over the home run, over the fence, home run, gone. So just some of the days on this day in history, May 26th. Do not forget you can text me, Astros no-hitter, A&M baseball is at 12, or whatever is on your sports mind. And you can text 979-693-1150. I'll be right back. It's the Louie Bellina Show Tuesday.
Everything in life has rules, and the Zone has prize rules for all contesting. You can check them out at zone1150.com. You may know you can win once every 30 days. There can only be one winner per household per month. You have 30 days to pick up your prizes. You have to be 18 or older to win. You have to present a legal ID to claim your prize. All prizes are non-transferable and not for resale. To make sure you do know all the rules, or if you have any questions about the prize rules, make sure to visit zone1150.com.
Zone1150.com.